I'll never forget the moment I stood in my father's office, my heart pounding like a drum. "You can't be serious, Dad," I said, my voice shaking as I faced him across his sleek oak desk in our Chicago penthouse office. William Perez, my father, leaned back in his chair, his gray eyes cool and unyielding, like Lake Michigan in winter. "This isn't up for discussion, Evelyn," he said, setting his pen down with a finality that stung. "Perez Legal Group is for Stephen to lead. You've got a bright future, marriage, a family. This firm isn't your place. I'm Evelyn Perez, 26, a Yale-educated lawyer with a fire in my soul, sparked by my grandmother, who fought for civil rights in the 60s. Growing up in Chicago's Gold Coast, I spent my life chasing excellence, top of my class, debate team captain, law review editor, all to earn a place at Perez Legal Group, my father's empire. But that day, surrounded by the scent of polished wood and his old-school cologne, my dreams cracked. It didn't matter that I'd aced every exam or argued circles around my peers. To him, I was just his daughter, meant to marry into another Chicago dynasty and step aside. My fists clenched as I stared at him. "Stephen doesn't even care about the firm, Dad," I said, my voice as Perez now. "He dropped out of law school, parties every weekend, and you know he can't run a business. I've earned this." My father sighed, rubbing his temple like I was a child throwing a tantrum. "Stephen's my son, Evelyn. It's his birthright. I'm protecting you from the stress of this world." "Protecting me?" The words felt like a slap. "You're not protecting me," I shot back. "You're holding me back because I'm a woman, and you're too stubborn to see what I can do." His face hardened, and I knew I'd crossed a line. "That's enough," he snapped. "We're done here." I turned on my heel, my boots echoing on the marble floor, my heart screaming louder than my steps. I wasn't just fighting for a job, I was fighting for my place in the world. I stormed through our Gold Coast mansion, my pulse racing as I passed my mother, Sharon, arranging roses in the living room. Her soft eyes met mine, weary but warm. "Evelyn, what's wrong?" she asked, her voice gentle as she set down a flower. I stopped, my frustration spilling over. "Dad's giving the firm to Stephen," I said, my voice cracking. "He won't let me work there because I'm a woman, and he expects me to just accept it." She sighed, her hands pausing, and I saw the weight of her own silence dreams in her frown. "Your father has his ways," she said hesitantly. "Maybe it's best not to push him, dear. He thinks he's doing right by you." I stared at her, stunned. "Doing right by me?" I repeated. "Mom, he's throwing away everything I've worked for." "How can you defend that?" She looked down, her fingers trembling slightly, and I saw the years she'd spent biting her tongue to keep peace in our house. "I just don't want you hurt, Evelyn," she whispered. "Sometimes it's easier to let things be." Her words hit me like a cold wind. My mother, who'd once dreamed of helping others as a social worker, had given up her voice for this family. I couldn't do the same. "I'm not you, Mom," I said softly, but firmly. "I can't stay silent." That night, as I lay in bed, the Chicago skyline glittering outside my window, I made a choice. I couldn't wait for my father to change his mind. I had to leave, to find a place where my work, not my gender, defined me. The next morning, I was packing my suitcase when my bedroom door creaked open. My mother stood there, her face pale. "Evelyn, what are you doing?" she asked, worry lacing her voice. Before I could answer, my father appeared, his expression stormy. "What's this?" he demanded. Stephen lounged in the doorway, smirking in his sweatshirt. "Running off to law school again, Evelyn?" he teased. I snapped my suitcase shut and faced them. "I'm leaving," I said, my voice steady. "Since I'm not wanted at the firm or in this family's plans, I'll find somewhere I am." My father's eyes narrowed. "Don't be absurd, Evelyn. This is your home. Where would you go?" I met his gaze, unflinching. "Somewhere that values me, Dad. You made it clear I don't belong here, so I'll prove you wrong elsewhere." Stephen chuckled, crossing his arms. "You're making a big deal out of nothing, Evelyn. It's just a job." His smugness lit a fire in me. "It's not just a job, Stephen," I snapped. "It's my life, something you've never had to fight for." My mother reached for me, her voice trembling. "Evelyn, please, let's talk this out." But I shook my head, grabbing my suitcase. "There's nothing to talk about. You've all chosen. I walked down the grand staircase, my mother's pleas fading behind me. As I stepped into the crisp Chicago air, I felt a weight lift. For the first time, I was free. Within days, I landed an interview at Carter and Associates, a top Chicago law firm. The moment I walked into their sleek downtown office, I felt a shift. They didn't care that I was a Perez. They cared about my Yale degree and my drive. By the end of the week, I had a job. My boss, Daniel Carter, was a self-made lawyer with a sharp mind and a belief in merit. He saw something in me and pushed me to take on tough cases. I thrived, diving into work that challenged me, free from my father's shadow. Every late night poring over contracts, every win in the conference room, felt like proof I was enough. But freedom came with a cost. At night, in my small loop apartment, the silence was heavy. I missed my mother's quiet hugs, even if she never fought for me. I even missed Steven's annoying banter, though I hated admitting it. Leaving home meant leaving them, and the ache of that choice hit hardest when I was alone. Still, I pushed forward, determined to build a life that was mine. Daniel's mentorship gave me confidence, and my colleagues' respect reminded me I belonged. This wasn't the legacy I dreamed of, but it was real, and I was carving it out one case at a time. Months passed, and I poured my heart into my work. The cases were grueling, often keeping me in the office until the Chicago skyline sparkled below. But I loved the pressure. It made me feel alive. Daniel started giving me bigger cases, and I was earning a name as a rising star at Carter and Associates. Yet, the nights were tough. Coming home to an empty apartment, I'd sit by the window, watching the city lights, and feel the weight of what I'd left behind. I missed my family, even after everything. My mother's gentle voice, Steven's infuriating grin, those memories stung, reminding me of the love I still carried for them. I started questioning myself. Had I been too rash? Could I have changed my father's mind if I'd stayed? But then I'd remember his words, "This firm isn't your place," and the fire in me reignited. I wasn't just proving him wrong, I was proving to myself that I could stand alone. Every case I won, every nod from Daniel, built my confidence. I wasn't just William Perez's daughter anymore. I was Evelyn, a lawyer making her mark. Still, the loneliness lingered, a quiet reminder of the family I'd walked away from, and I wondered if they'd ever see me for who I'd become. One afternoon, Daniel called me into his office, his modern space overlooking the Chicago River. He leaned back in his chair, his dark eyes studying me. "Evelyn, I've got a case for you," he said, his tone serious. "It's big, messy, and it'll put you on the map." I leaned forward, intrigued. "What's the case?" He paused, then dropped the bomb. "We're representing a client suing Perez Legal Group for malpractice. The stakes are huge, and it's getting attention." My breath caught. "My father's firm. You want me to go up against my family?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. He nodded. "You know how they operate, Evelyn. You're our best shot. This could define your career." My heart raced. This wasn't just a case, it was personal. Taking it meant facing my father and Steven, proving I was better than they'd ever believed, but also risking what little connection we had left. "I need to think about it," I said, my voice quiet. Daniel nodded. "Take until tomorrow. I know what this means for you." That night, I couldn't sleep, my mind spinning. Going against my family could burn every bridge, but it was also my chance to show them I was more than they'd allowed me to be. By morning, I knew my answer. I walked into Daniel's office, my resolve firm. "I'm in," I said. He grinned. "Let's do this." The courtroom was electric, the air thick with tension as I walked in, my briefcase gripped tightly. Across the room, my father and Steven sat at the opposing table. When our eyes met, I saw their shock, my father's jaw tightened, Steven's smirk faltered. I set my briefcase down, meeting their gazes without flinching. I wasn't Evelyn, their daughter or sister today. I was Evelyn Perez, attorney, and I was here to win. The proceedings began, and I slipped into my role like armor. Every argument, every piece of evidence, was sharp and precise. Steven fumbled, his inexperience glaring as he misstated facts. I countered with clarity, my voice steady, my case airtight. My father watched, his face unreadable but his eyes locked on me. I didn't let it shake me. I cross-examined witnesses with confidence, presented documents with precision, and dismantled Stephen's weak arguments. The judge nodded as I spoke, and I could feel the room shift in my favor. Stephen scrambled, unprepared, while my father stayed silent, his presence heavy but powerless against my preparation. By the end of the session, it was clear who was in control. I wasn't just fighting for my client, I was fighting for every moment I'd been told I wasn't enough. And I was winning. By the fourth session, Perez's legal group was crumbling. Stephen's arguments fell apart, and my father's attempts to intervene couldn't save them. They proposed a settlement, and after tense negotiations, we secured terms that favored my client heavily. As we signed the papers, I caught my father's eye across the room. He looked tired, maybe even regretful. Stephen stared at the table, avoiding me entirely. When the session ended, I expected to exchange professional courtesies, as I always did. But my father and Stephen gathered their things and left without a word. No nod, no handshake, nothing. The silence cut deeper than I expected. I'd won, proven myself beyond doubt, but their refusal to acknowledge me hurt. I brushed it off, focusing on my client, who thanked me profusely. Back at the firm, my colleagues greeted me with cheers. Daniel clapped my shoulder, grinning. "You were unstoppable, Evelyn. That win's a game changer." We celebrated in the break room, laughter and champagne flowing. But later, alone in my apartment, the victory felt bittersweet. I'd shown the world what I could do, but my family's silence left a hollow ache. Had they seen me, truly seen me, or was I just a wound to their pride? The next morning, I walked into my office, the usual hum of phones and chatter filling the air. Daniel caught me at the door, his expression odd. "Evelyn, your father's here," he said. "He's in your office." My stomach flipped, but I kept my face neutral. "Thanks," I said, heading down the hall. There he was, William Perez, sitting across from my desk, his hands clasped tightly. He looked up as I entered, his eyes softer than I'd ever seen. "Evelyn," he said quietly, standing. "I needed to see you." I closed the door, my heart pounding. "What's this about, Dad?" He took a breath, steadying himself. "You were incredible in court," he said, his voice low. "I've seen the best lawyers in Chicago, and you outshone them all." "I was wrong, Evelyn. I thought legacy meant Stephen taking over, but I see now, you're the one who's earned it." His words hit me hard, but I stayed composed. "Why now?" I asked. "After everything, why say this now?" He met my eyes, raw honesty in his gaze. "Because I saw what you're capable of. I failed you, and I'm sorry. Come back to Perez Legal Group. Take the lead. We need you." I stood there, stunned, the moment I dreamed of finally hear, but heavy with the past. I leaned back in my chair, my father's words echoing. "What about Stephen?" I asked. He sighed. "He'll stay, but in a role that fits him. This is about you, Evelyn, and what you deserve." I nodded, my mind racing. "I need time to think," I said. "This isn't a simple choice." He nodded, understanding. "Take what you need." I just had to say it. He paused at the door, turning back. "Evelyn, I'm proud of you. You're better than I ever was." His small smile lingered as he left, leaving me with a storm of emotions. Pride, anger, hope, they all swirled as I sat at my desk, staring at the Chicago skyline. Now it's late, and I'm lying in bed, the city's glow filtering through my window. My father's offer is everything I once wanted, to shape Perez Legal Group, to claim my legacy. But going back means facing old wounds, working with Stephen, who never valued my fight. Staying here, at Carter and Associates, I've built something real, a place where I'm seen for me. The choice feels impossible, tearing me between my past and my future. What would you do? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I could use your perspective. To everyone who's followed this journey, thank you. You've seen me fight, fall, and rise. If my story hit home, hit subscribe and join me. Every case, every choice is a step toward truth. Let's keep building ours together.